live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show where we talk about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you would like to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. And I know you didn't get the newsletter because I didn't fill it out. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it was on the agenda. But I'm racing up from Columbus, Ohio, where I spent the balance of the last 36 hours. But had to get here for the show this evening. I'm going to relay a story in a few moments that I experienced at said truck show in Columbus, the Ohio Trucking Association. Nonsense. Anyway, you didn't get the newsletter. That's fine. Here's what's happening because you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about 11 minutes from now, he is the owner at one of my favorite barbecue pit and grill manufacturers, a longtime sponsor of this show. Ryan Zboril joins me. We'll be talking about the new product that we teased ever so slightly with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com last week. Get the ins and outs, see how you can get yours, how you can outfit your friends and neighbors with one as well, because they're going to be jealous bastards when you get one. And then after Ryan, we will go with a recap of GRILLFEST 2024. Give you some insight, give you some recap, give you some secret stories, tell you what we did after the fact, all that fun stuff. Then we'll move to the second hour, and it is the last Tuesday in September. What does that mean? Not only does it bring a visit from the embedded correspondents, yes, indeed it does. But if you're a fan of the show and you know the ins and outs, the last Tuesday in September in the second hour can only mean one thing. We are ushering in a new class for the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. So, as we do each and every year, plus we're adding a whole new human being, that being Matt Osman from the great state of Tennessee. So how it works, and I'll re-explain it in the second hour again before we get going. We have all generated a list. How is one eligible to be in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame? You have to have been a guest at some point. That's the only qualifications that you need. Ryan could be in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame this year or next year or whenever, because he's been a guest at least once. We will go around and give our first 5 names. If, by sheer coincidence, all of us agree that all the 5 names that we have nominated are all the same 5, unanimously we have a class just like that. It will never happen like that. It could. So we'll go around. We'll see who gets some votes or who appears twice or 3 times. We'll put it on the list. And then, after we do the initial nominations, we got to go back and forth, arguing, trying to get people to vote our people in. And it has to be unanimous. None of this majority rules nonsense. This is a Hall of Fame, one of the most prestigious Hall of Fames in the live fire industry, if not Halls of Fame in general. So it's got to be unanimous. Everybody has to agree that this person or that person is worthy of going into the Guest Hall of Fame. It could take very little time. If that's the case, we have a full agenda of 100% assurity questions. If it does not take a small amount of time, last year, not only did it not take a small,
Andrew, you are not
take a small amount of time. It took a large amount of time, and because I was almost ill-prepared, as I believe some of the other embedded correspondents were too, we were quickly working through our nominated list. So I have an extensive list of names that I feel are qualified, and I also encouraged the other embedded correspondents to put together an extensive list on their ends as well. So if your first or third or fifth option doesn't get in, now you're not trying to think of names on the fly. We don't want to operate like that. So everybody's been doing extensive research. Doug, of course, one of the most well-researched embedded correspondents of all time. Nobody knows the archives better than our pal John Solberg up in Michigan. Rusty, who knows who he knows anymore? And we'll see what kind of cheese Matt Osmond brings to the table here in the second hour. So that's how the show's laying out. Ryan Zboril from Pits and Spits coming up soon, and then a GRILLFEST recap. Second hour, a new class for Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Don't forget you can follow me socially through Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can go to Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch through YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. And I'm asking everybody this: is the Ninja gas and hot air-powered grill going to actually happen in 2025? And currently 58% of you are saying no. I've been showing very leaked, highly classified yet leaked pictures the last few weeks of this Ninja propane gas-powered / turbo air, like an air fryer and gas grill all in one, not separate but all in one. So do we think that's going to be a thing next year? And currently a small majority think that's not going to happen. Results of the poll from last week: have you ever heard of the GrillBot? 58% of you ended up saying yes, you have indeed heard of GrillBot. And I continue to maintain, as human men and women, we should never be buying that thing called the GrillBot. If you're looking to waste $100, send me the $100. I can figure out a better way to waste it than putting that GrillBot on your grill, having you forget about it after it shuts off, and then you don't open the hood when you go to fire it up the next time, and now you have a medium well-done GrillBot that is not going to be cleaning your grill anymore. It didn't work the first time around, and 10 years later, it's not going to be any more successful than it was. It is a gimmick. This is a textbook example of what a gimmick is in the barbecue and grilling industry. So we'll start here tonight. And as I had mentioned, I was down in Columbus for an Ohio Trucking Association's annual conference. It's a poorly run event at best. There is no pressure put on any of the attendees to work around those of us that are showcasing or exhibiting. I'm there, obviously, on the Peterbilt side of things, trying to sell some trucks, trying to make some contacts with some of the fleet owners that I would like to get in with. But nobody tells them or makes them get skin in the game, does any kind of speed dating. So we sit out in the hallway, talk to nobody except the other exhibitors. Waste of my time, except for the guy right to the right of me, who I actually worked with a number of years ago at an automatic lubrication company, and it was dynamite catching up with him. Chris Knott, what up? But I saw something happen in real life right in front of me, 4 feet from me as I'm sitting at my table. There's a guy going up to give his keynote speak on how to be a better leader, whatever. This guy, I have to say, a physical specimen. Not overly tall, not overly wide, but very muscular, lean, obviously eating well, working out. This guy's put together. He knows it. Not in a conceited way, but his clothes are definitely showing you what he's made of. He's getting his microphone ready and watching all this. And then right out of the doors in the ballroom comes this lady. And I hear, "Hey, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know. You got one of the best bodies I've ever seen." And he said, "Oh, thanks so much. Ba, ba, ba." This is obviously something he hears on a regular because it was very natural for him to not embarrass the lady, although she said very quickly afterwards as she turned tail and headed back into the conference room, "Oh, I'm just going to leave now. I've totally embarrassed myself." I thought I'd help the guy out. I said, "Hey, pal." I don't know this guy. He said, "Yes." And I said, "Just so you know, nobody ever says that to me, okay?" Nobody ever says that. Nobody. He thought that was funny. He goes in to give his keynote. But this is something, obviously, that this guy hears all the time. And you hear about when people come up to good-looking people and then just compliment them on their aesthetic. But I've never seen that in real life. And here it was transacting 4 feet from me. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy just looks like this. And women are just walking right up to him and telling him what a great... If I was this guy, I'd be walking around without a shirt all day long. Speaking of shirts, this is the shirt. I'll bring you an update here in the second, or maybe after Ryan. We'll talk about the shirt and where we're at with that because we are on limited time with the shirt. So be ready for that and be ready to order quickly. All right, Ryan Zboril is ready to go in the green room. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. Before we do that, we will talk about our pals over at Schwank Grills. So what do we know about Schwank Grills? The obvious, of course. Let me show you some video of this thing in action. It heats up to 1,500 degrees using infrared burner technology. What does that mean to you? You can grill the juiciest steaks you've ever tasted in as little as 3 to 4 minutes, depending on size, thickness, all that fun stuff. No more wasting your life cooking the proteins you want. Schwank Grills does it quickly, does it with great results. Used by some of the most high-line steak franchises in the country, to include Morton's, Del Frisco's, Cut 432. Now, this isn't something like or akin to Schwank. This is the Schwank burner technology, except taken out of the commercial kitchen and put in a highly portable size that can fit well into the backyard. Of course, as I had mentioned the last few weeks, we are in the teeth of what is tailgate season. So you don't want to be packing up a huge 900-pound grill in the back of your pickup truck if you can even get it up there. You want something that can move with you. You want something that's adaptable, nimble, can give you some high-quality sear, but can also do something a little lower on the heat. Multiple levels of adjustment so you can increase or decrease the intensity of the heat if you want. But easily fits in the trunk, in the back of your SUV, if you will. Totally safe. Disconnect the propane bottle, take it with you, and away you go. Now you can cook it all up there in the parking lots, depending on whatever it is, high school football, college football, pro football. We have it here in Ohio by the legions on all the levels. So save some money while you're at it as you order your Schwank Grill. You can use promo code BBQ Central at checkout when you go to schwankgrills.com. and save $150 off with promo code BBQ Central. If you're asking how to navigate there, click on the link in the newsletter, in the show notes. You can also go to the main website homepage. There's a Schwank Grills logo on the main page. Click there and get you all over to Schwank Grills website, and then use promo code BBQ Central at checkout for $150 off. We're back with Ryan Zboril from Pits and Spits right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookingpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You visit cookingpellets.com to see their products, and then go to Amazon.com or Walmart.com or Lowe's.com to purchase same great products, even better shipping rates. Good folks over at cookingpellets.com. A lot of you writing in wanting the update on the cheater in college that I talked about a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if I'll find time in the balance of the show here. We're very busy, but I'll try and get you the update where I can. My first guest tonight manufactures some of the best offset pits, pellet smokers, charcoal grills, and other live fire products available in the market today. And this evening, we are going to talk about the new item that we teased with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com last week. Ryan Zboril from Pits and Spits joins us here on the show. Ryan, before we get into talking about the new piece, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests, which is this. Let me get to the question. The Ninja gas and hot air powered grill will actually happen in 2025, yes or no?
Don't really understand that concept, so I think the answer is no. I think it's I don't know, is the gas creating the hot air? Is it a combo? What is it, right? It sounds really buzzy. It sounds kind of like, let's kind of latch on to some cool words here that we think people will like, and I don't know. I mean, I will say the ninja guys do make a lot of cool stuff, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
The best I can ascertain at the moment, off of the only picture that I've ever seen anywhere circulated on the internet that was sent to me by No Names Please, of course, it appears to be one unit, and within the unit you have both propane gas heat and then hot air convection. So let's call it somehow a mashup of a gas grill and a air fryer to some degree.
It's almost like a pellet, remove the pellet of a pellet grill and put in a burner, I guess. I'm trying to...
Yeah, no smoke, but gas powered.
A gas oven.
And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I
Interesting.
said,
And is this for indoor or outdoor use?
Well, I would imagine this would be outdoor use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they aren't they one of the guys that came out with the indoor pellet product?
So
didn't they have one of their own?
I don't know if the one that they came out with is one that you can technically use inside. So GE made the indoor smoker that you
I knew
can
they
use.
did.
And then Ninja has a smoker oven. But I don't believe that's being billed as something that you could technically use indoors. I might be wrong on that. I am not the Ninja expert, but everybody that I've ever seen use it is outdoors. Now, maybe that's just because they're influencers in the live fire space and Ninja is trying to get them to press it, but I don't think that's an indoor item.
Maybe it's more tabletop, and I just, in my American arrogance, think that that means it's indoor, probably.
By the way, we love American arrogance. That's why we're American, goddammit. All right.
That's right. That's right.
We spoke at the end of November last year, and before we talk about this new unit. Where is Pits and Spits sitting as we actually get ready to enter Q4 of 2024?
Man, we were kind of rocking and rolling. So we really retrenched, I think, if you talk to anybody in the industry, and especially on the retail side, I think 23 was still kind of coming off that COVID hangover and everyone was kind of getting back to normal. So we kind of retrenched and kind of got back to basics and just really focused on our core lines and core products. And we're pretty happy with how the year's been going, but we're kind of now getting back to where we're ready to kind of go grow and pushing some new product lines. And then also start talking about maybe some updates and maybe some, refreshes on our existing lines. So we're excited. I think we're going to have a fun finish to this year. And then pretty excited about 25.
You'd briefly mention pandemic. So as we have some decent time behind us now, I'm curious from your perspective, how do you view what the pandemic did to the live fire marketplace? Or in other words, what good came out of it and what were the worst things that came out of it?
So I think on the positive side, I think that there is more product category awareness than ever before. And I think that then gives you the opportunity for brand awareness for every brand out there, right? So it's kind of a bigger pool that we're all fishing in and kind of a bigger, pie we're all trying to eat from. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in grill servicing, right? So if you're looking to start a business or a franchise and you want to go service grills for a couple $100 a pop, man, I think that there's going to be a ton of that going on for the next several years. And then I think for a company like ours that, we like to be in a free money environment. We're a lot of people's first grill. But the way this whole thing was designed and the thought, when we launched into pellet grills in 2016, 17 was we expect to be someone's second grill or kind of their, second or third purchase in that product category. And that you like it and that you're now ready to buy for life and kind of buy once, cry once, have it forever, pass it down. So I think for us, that has built a lot of what we'll call kind of addressable market out there, installed base, whatever kind of buzzy, banker words you want to use. So I think that's some of the positive stuff. I think something that's kind of good and bad because it's painful. It's going to create a healthier market across the board for manufacturers, retailers, everybody. Like everyone's got to kind of behave more responsibly, a little more. I think relationships are back in style, right? It's no longer, we don't get the random phone calls from random dealers. Hey, I can't get brand X. I'll take a truckload of yours, right? Like those kind of conversations are not happening anymore, which is probably a good thing because that's unhealthy growth for everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously the come down off of that's obviously can, like I said, be kind of a hangover and sting for a lot of people. I think that the worst part to come out of the pandemic for our sector was kind of probably the personal tolls it took on a lot of people. I think you had a lot of guys that opened stores or got into the business because it was like on such a hockey stick, upward trajectory. And then kind of some dreams and some excitement kind of got burnt on that. Right. And so I think some guys have gotten out of the business and headed a different direction. And look, I don't think anyone's lives were ruined, but I think it's just some kind of, a lot of times reality really, really brings you back down to earth. And it's pretty humbling. And look, I mean, like on the manufacturer side, we were blowing and going. We're like, oh, we're geniuses. We're great. Everyone loves us. And then it's like, well, your steel, I know we've talked about this multiple times, your carbon steel is, 3x the price and your stainless steel is 4x the price now. So like, that's great. You're selling way more, but you're making way, way less. So a lot of hard lessons learned, but that's why I think that, I think you got to kind of look at it with, if you learn something and survive, then you came out in good shape.
I don't want to turn this into a business call here, but in the trucking industry, we're out of allotment, but there's already been talk as the new 2027 emission engines roll in for calendar year 2027 that we could be back on an allotment for 26, as a lot of fleets would try and pre-buy double, triple the amount of trucks to give themselves time away from the new one when it actually unveils in 27. If you felt like something was returning back to that time of pandemic-ish feelings, instead of getting caught in, hey, we guaranteed this price and we're going to stick to it no matter how much it hurts us as a company, would you be more willing at this point, because of lessons learned, to say, hey, pricing is X, but if market conditions dictate or these things happen, then in order to maintain your order, you're going to be subject to what we called in the trucking industry a surcharge?
Yeah, I think we would absolutely have to do that. And I think that we'd be upfront about it, right? And say, like, this is why our, $3,000 grill is now $3,500 or $4,000 or whatever. We would be upfront about it, but we would just have to do it. And I think it's kind of a simple economics type deal, right? Like, the old graphs, it's just that it moves up on this part of the graph, and like, yeah, you may sell fewer units, but you're going to be still as profitable. And so that's the important part, not necessarily, when I say important, I mean, from keeping your guys employed and keeping the lights on. But I hope Steve's not offended. I kind of took a segment.
I'm not going to tell you what happened like right before we went on air, but there's a reason for that.
No problem. But yeah, I mean, I think we would have to, and I think that people understand, and we never really got much pushback or blowback to the extent like we would have to explain pricing to customers or what was going on in the commodity markets. Everyone was always pretty understanding, so I don't think we would have a ton of pushback. Now, at the same time, I think then the question is, well, what about price protection? Well, our kind of order to delivery cycle, call it, let's say it's a totally exploding market scenario, right? It's like 90 days. It's not going to wash itself out in that time, right? Like, we're not going to be selling it to you where stainless is $4 a pound day one, and then it goes down to $1.75 day 90. Like, that's just not how fast it comes down.
Yeah.
So it would be a truly passed along cost.
We have something new to talk about. If you're not following me on social media, you're not following Pits and Spits on social media, maybe you missed it. Pits and Spits has gotten into the freestanding griddle game. But it's not just a freestanding griddle. Indeed, it's 2-in-1. It's also a freestanding gas grill. I got to tell you, for as long as I've known Pits and Spits, it has never even once... It was mind-bending enough when you said you were getting into the pellet cooker market. Even then, I never thought for 1 second that Pits and Spits would get into the gas grill market, and yet here we are getting ready to enter into Q4 of 2024, and not only is there a gas grill, there's a stainless steel griddle top that can go on it and give you a freestanding griddle experience as well. So give us the whole background and how long it took to get here, and why are we launching now?
So years ago, I mean, 10, 15, 20 years ago, some of the original Pits and Spits owners were doing different iterations of gas grills. I mean, these were basically carbon-bodied, kind of pipe burner gas grills. So nothing fancy. But people love them, man. We have guys still calling that, I bought this 25 years ago for $500. Can you fix it, refurbish it? And it's like, unfortunately, the equipment that's on there now costs $500, but I'm glad it's lasted that long. But we over time, and kind of when I bought the business and we're really pushing to pellets, we really said, look, let's focus. Let's not let's not just kind of, spray and pray at all these segments. Let's buckle down into a couple and let's do that well. And then, even last year was really when we started refocusing on our charcoal grills. I mean, that was when we started saying, look, we've got stick burners and pellets down. Now let's do charcoal. And that's gone really well for us. And look, I'll be honest. I have never cooked on a Blackstone. We made griddles for our pellet grills that we really liked. And when my wife was pregnant, she became like pretty sensitive to the smell of the smoke. And so I had to kind of rethink like how often I was running my pellet grill and, what I was smelling like coming upstairs, after we cooked a brisket or whatever. And so I was like, obviously I'd go buy a gas grill, but might as well just make one, like, know how to do it. And so we kind of used some of our old designs and then used some stuff we've learned over the years and made one. And we're like, man, this thing is awesome. Like, let's put a griddle top on it. And all of a sudden we were like, wait, we think we are in the griddle business. So went through a few iterations and this is what we came up with. And we really excited about it. As with everything we do, it's pretty heavy duty. So it's about 350 pounds,
Wow.
all stainless. So 12 gauge on the body, on the 12 gauge on the stand, 7 gauge top. So we went with an all stainless top versus, carbon or cast iron, just because we don't want to deal with any rust. And I'm not here to necessarily claim one cooks better than the other, but I'll say that restaurants use stainless.
Yeah,
and I think
agreed.
it's because it lasts forever and you can clean it and you don't have to worry about rust. And it's a product I'm really excited about because I demoed it so much at home and like I really love it. It's so fun to cook on. It's a total I'm preaching to the choir, I'm sure, for a bunch of listeners, just because they all probably have some form of griddle at home, but it is just it's super fun to cook on. Our lid comes off, so you can do like the Benihana night at home. Smash burgers all the time, steaks. It's really fun to cook on. And that was because of the burners we use. That was when we were thinking, wait a second, like we looked around in the market at what other burners are used and why. And we started thinking, man, like, we're putting too much power into this thing? It's like, no, let's just build it to that power and then say it's also a gas grill, because it is. Like, why would you not want both? Or why would you feel like you have to have both? So, man, that's kind of how we got here.
When I was looking at it originally, I'm like, man, is it going to be a pain in the ass to yank the griddle top off? And then, not so much of a pain in the ass to put the grill grates on it, use it as a gas grill. But then I realized we're not talking about taking a chunk of steel off like your Blackstone or whatever Weber uses, these big honking griddle plates. This is stainless steel. Yeah. So I'm sure it's thick, but it's probably a little less weight for you to maneuver in and out of the grill as you need.
Yeah, I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy, but it has handles on it, right? So like it's meant to be removed. So it's not terribly, cumbersome or a huge pain in the butt to get it off the top. And then your grates, since our grates are sections, you just store underneath down in the bottom where your propane tank goes.
I assume as we look at the picture here, let me go here. These are these vent holes, because one of my concerns,
yes,
or one of the big concerns I hear with putting something over the top of something else is, how is it exhausting? How is it not going to overheat, blow up, warp, what have you? So I assume this is part of the whole process to eliminate that.
100%. And that's one of the things that a lot of times people don't understand with gas, is that it's got to vent both ways, right? So in and out. So it's not just air intake in. If you don't have it, adequately ventilated on the way out, it can suffocate and obviously create a dangerous scenario. So that's why we went with like pretty ultra vented.
How long does it get to? I think this is where we want to build it to. Let's take it to market. Like, why are we doing it now?
So this one took about 16 months, so longer than we wanted. And the reason it takes longer than we wanted is because we kind of just work it into production, right? We don't have like an R&D team. Like, it's the same fab guys, right? And I'm kind of hoping one of them's got capacity to, hey, cut this for me. Let's try this. Let's try that. And then it's also kind of, well, what do you do with all this stuff? Is it sits around the shop and you're like, hey, here's kind of prototype A that no one's going to use anymore. What do you do with it? So, yeah, it just takes a while. It's not a matter of, getting it tested once it's built. It's a matter of actually getting it built, and just kind of working that into the workflow, because, when you make a portfolio of products the same way every time, and something new pops in, and it's like, it just kind of retraining yourself to think of, wait a second, like, it doesn't have to be in a circle. It could be in a square. So that's really the reason why. I wish it was faster, and we also wanted to do this one in house. We didn't want to outsource this or have someone else do it for us. So we did all this in house and just kind of did it kind of one step at a time. And even like the base, we were going to use square tubing, and I was laying awake at night and just thinking, like, man, like I'd really rather it be a little sexier than that. And then just kind of started thinking about it and was like, wait a second, we want the 8-inch wheels. How could you build a base that would allow for a propane tank to fit? And you just kind of start thinking about what you want and what geometry gets you there. And that's how you end up there.
How many can you build? Like, is it all piece by piece as ordered, or do you allot to build, 7 a week? And
we're gonna we have several in order right now, so we're going to be batch running those. We don't really have a number to answer that question just yet. I mean, it's what we do though is as we hopefully get much busier with this product, and I think people are really excited about it. I think we're in a pretty small part of the market. There's only a couple, maybe one other American-made stainless gas griddle. And I think when you start considering the cart and everything, we're going to be kind of right around the same price point. What we can do to ramp up is we have a couple of guys around town in Houston that we can use to help with some laser cutting, even help with some bending on the front end to kind of relieve some of our process, so we can kind of get a nice workflow going.
If I order one now, what's the lead time?
Let's see. Making sure there's no holidays. You're probably looking at around Halloween right now
for it to be made,
so that's
or for it to hit my doorstep
to ship to you. So about a 5 week, 5 to 6 week lead time.
All right, let's ask the elephant question in the room. $4,000 for a griddle when all we've really ever known are few $100s up to, I don't know what the most expensive commodities brand was. Maybe it was Traeger's or whatever, towards $2,000, something like that. Maybe it wasn't even that much. Maybe it was $1,000. But by and large, they're under $1,000. So to say, hey, 4 times that amount, this is what you're looking at. And I saw a couple questions in the instant chat going, well, what's the difference between a $3,000 pellet smoker and a $700 pellet smoker? Question you probably field all the time from people calling in asking questions. So what's the answer to that?
Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing as for like our pellet grills or even our offsets, right? Is that you're buying this today to have 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, right? That's how we build our products, is that this is the last one that you're going to buy. Hopefully you'll buy another one for your other home or for your son-in-law or whomever, or daughter-in-law for that matter. But it's built to last a lifetime and to be handed down. We're not trying to sell it to you now and then resell it to you and sell you another version of it in 3 years. There's also just a quality of materials that go into it, right? Like we're talking heavy gauge stainless, fully welded, ground, polished, just some craftsmanship aspects that go into it as well. And then being made in America, that's just part of it. I think it's, if you feel it and you try and roll this thing around, like you feel the value, you feel the difference. And then finally, it's 2 grills in one, right? Like I said earlier, we're not trying to sell you a $2,000 griddle and a $3,000 gas grill. It's like, no, like we put them together. It helps lower the price. And so now you've got 2 products in one that they're going to last forever. And we hope that you're calling us in 20 years saying like, hey man, it's finally time to replace my burners, or, I would like to replace my valves, or I'm switching from propane to natural gas. But those are the kind of phone calls we want, not, hey, my griddle top is rusting and now I don't know what to do. I got to spend a weekend trying to get it reseasoned.
This is Ryan Zboril. We're talking from Pits and Spits. Pitsandspits.com is the website, of course, and you can check out the griddle right there on the homepage. Just click on the Shop Now button, and then you can go to the page that we were just looking at here while Ryan was talking and see all the specs, and you can certainly order. Ryan, always appreciate the time and the continued sponsorship of the show, the support, which I certainly appreciate. And this griddle/grill is as sexy as they come. And I can't wait to see the success and people get their hands on it and seeing what they're doing with it. So always appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. And we are going to be coming out with a 3-burner. And so I'm looking for a short list of testers. I don't know if you know anybody, let me know.
I'll let you know.
All right.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
I'll see you.
That's Ryan Zboril right there. Pits and Spits. Oh, dear. I mean, I can already feel the emails racing in. I'm a beta tester. I want to be a beta tester. I know. Send them over. I'll evaluate. And if you fit my bill, then I'll usher you over to Ryan and see if you guys can't put something together. All right? Fair enough? Of course. By the way, speaking of Pits and Spits, if you're tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences, then it's time to step your game up.
Step your game up.
Pits and Spits, offering the best quality pellet cookers, charcoal grills, offset cookers, now the griddle/gas grill combination. By the way, great answer from Ryan talking about cost. Don't forget, this specific one is 2 cookers in one. Full-blown 4-burner gas grill, and then you can drop the stainless steel griddle top on it, and now it's a griddle. You don't have to have 2 implements. Now you have 1 cooking vessel with an additional thing to go over the top to turn it into something completely different than what it could be otherwise. Was that convoluted? You know what I'm talking about. In the meantime, if you're looking to check out everything that they're offering, go ahead and hit the website, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. And on the charcoal side, if you want to save $150 off any charcoal grill, use promo code Charcoal Central, and you can save $150 off any charcoal grill. That's promo code Charcoal Central. If you're in the mood or you're in the market for a higher-end gas griddle/grill, how about 304 stainless construction, built-in flamethrower ignition, 11-gauge 304 stainless fabricated burners, 80,000 BTU output, the list goes on. 8-inch wheels. That thing's going to move like a dream. All right. I think I know what Ryan was asking. All right, Ryan, I'll take one. You don't have to beat around the bush. Anyway, head on over to the website, pitsandspits.com. We are back with a GRILLFEST wrap-up. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central Show.
And we thank Ryan Zboril for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard, makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the new Fireboard Pulse. When you use the Fireboard app, you have total access to all devices anywhere in the world. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. I used my Fireboard 2 tonight when I was cooking steaks. Reverse sear on the Members Mark Pro Series gas grill, and dialed in Oven mode, 225. Put on the steaks, let them ride up slowly. And I had that, a real thin one. I think that's a thermistor. Popped it in the thickest steak there and watched it rise steadily up to 220 or 225, 120 degrees internal. Took them all off, turned all the gas burners up to high, and 5-10 minutes later, once it got to the temperature I was hoping for, finished them off. Super easy, and that fireboard is just a workhorse. I love every second of it. By the way, I did appear on a podcast a couple weeks ago. I've been meaning to put it in my podcast feed as well, just for promotion. But Anthony Lujan, over co-host at the Pitmasters podcast, did a roundtable of sorts on wireless probe thermometers. I was on there. Christy Vanover from Girls Can Grill was on there. And then Anthony and his co-host were also taking part in that roundtable. So if you missed it or you're not a subscriber over the Pitmasters podcast, go check it out. I give you a bunch of my thoughts on the whole thing. Also shocked to find out that all of those panel members, not me, but all of the other panel members, they do not check their thermopens on a regular basis. What are you doing? Trust, but verify. You know? Trust, but verify. For too many stories of thermopens and any manufacturer down the line, all of a sudden something goes awry. Why did I overcook it? Why did I undercook it? Heaven forbid. And then you test it only to find out the thing's out of whack for whatever reason. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. It is a mechanical device. It can get out of kilter from time to time. So I tell people twice a month, boil water if you're at whatever sea level where water boils at 212, or do the ice bath. You know, fill up a big container full of ice and water and make sure you do it the right way. Stir it around. It should register 32 degrees if it's accurate. And if it's not, at least you know where your inaccuracy range lies. You can either get a new thermometer that's accurate again, or just make sure you're making your adjustments as you're cooking. But check it a couple times a month. Nobody, Anthony, his co-host, Christy Vanover, not checking the accuracy of their thermometers. Christy even said, well, that's why I carry an additional thermopen. I said, Christy, what if that one's wrong too? It could happen. Trust, but verify. This is what I'm trying to leave you with tonight. So this past Saturday, we did it once again. I successfully emceed and steered the Hartville Hardware's GRILLFEST to victory. All right, maybe that's a little ambitious of me. But I was given the privilege once again of moderating through the live demos. And my favorite part is right at the tail end. Steve McMillan, who joined the show for the first time last week, hyping up the event leading into it this past weekend, allows me the opportunity to announce the category winners on the competition side of thing, and then the overall winner. He certainly doesn't have to do that. He could do it. But I'm grateful that he allows me to do a little Bob Barker with that every year, which I certainly look forward to doing, and giving away some really cool trophies. So this is how it lays out. So show up, me, about an hour north of Hartville, get down there around 8:30 in the morning, do a little hello to some of the competitors. Saw my guy Tough Dan down there looking for 2 wins in a row on the Weber side. Didn't work out for him, but always great to see him down there. Plus, he got a brand new boat earlier in the year, so taking him away from the boat, not an easy thing to do, but his buddy said he needed some help. Tough Dan, a multiple-time winner there on the Weber. I believe he won Big Green Egg one year as well, so very accomplished on that side of things. So saw him down there. Of course, saw our pal Aaron Huntelman from Go Big or Go Barbecue, and saw our pal from Buckeye Flavor, Jason Leonard, and saw Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue, all local guys or local-ish guys. Buckeye Flavor won it last year and was very excited this year. Traeger comes back in and wins the whole damn thing. And Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue wins the whole thing. So I was going to have him on in this segment, but because I was racing back from Columbus and I didn't have near the amount of time that I was going to feel comfortable with getting a microphone to him and then doing a sound check, I said, you know what, let's wait until next week. We'll close it out end of the second hour on that first Tuesday in October, and we'll get the competition recap from him. But this is just a great standalone event experience for me. I get to do something that comes very easy to me, something that I do on a Tuesday night for the last 16, 18 years, whatever it is. And that's me interacting with talent, questioning. So here you have our pal Mike Lang from Another Point Please going up and cooking on the Weber Searwood, doing his recipes. We're doing back and forth. And all I'm doing is listening to Mike work through his protocol of recipe. But then I'm also looking at the crowd's faces. And this is a key time. If you're taking part in a live demo with these professionals, so Mike Lang and Matt Frampton, who we'll talk about here in a second. Diva Q is there, of course. She's the anchor to this whole thing. If you have this level of talent and you're sitting in the audience and you're being told right up front, hey, don't be afraid to ask questions. This is something that you want to ask all your questions. You got masters up here, so ask away. But people still very intimidated in public. They don't want to ask a stupid question, or maybe they're afraid of being made fun of down the road, what have you. So I'm basically looking around, and then I'm trying to figure out in my head, what's the questions that these people are thinking that I can go ahead and ask, or toss Mike's way or Matt's way, Diva's way, and have them answer it. So great back and forth with all of them. In fact, it's the first time I ever worked with Matt Frampton, and I was very excited that Matt was doing a whole pizza demonstration. Pizza's been very popular for the last couple of years. So to have who I say is the Pizziola de Pizziolis sit in front or stand in front of a crowd of eager to learn pizza people, fans, and answer all the questions. And it happened about just like I thought, that Matt's segment was going to have the most questions because pizza had never been covered before. He had never been a live demonstrator before. So this is a recipe for question and interactive success, and it was. And Matt had a guy up there that was helping him. He was also very knowledgeable in the whole pizza making, so he was answering some questions as well. So great pizza demo, and he was doing them one right after the other. There were samples that were being given out. He made this Goodfellas sandwich, but it was also Luca Brazzi is in my mind. That's wrong. That's not what it was called, but I think it was called the Wise Guy or the Goodfella or something like that. It looked insane. There was a lot of Italian meats on there, some lettuce, some peppadew peppers and banana peppers. Looked great, but it was basically, the bread was two pizzas, or it was one pizza cut in half, and then the sandwich was made in the middle of the one pizza. You stick the other top of the pizza on it. Now you got your sandwich, and he was handing out those. But people were racing to get to the stage to get a sample of that. It looked delicious. And people ask me, well, you must eat really good during the course of the day. And I'm like, no, I don't eat anything during the course of the day. I'm talking, I'm moderating, I'm telling people about sales, I'm keeping things going. I don't eat. I have time to go in and refill my water to make sure I stay hydrated, and then it's on to the next thing. They don't pay me to eat or to carouse. They pay me to keep things going. And then, of course, my pal Mike Lang was up, did a great recipe, talked about the Searwood, great interacting with him. We also talked about how he was on the show Tuesday and doing some hype for this event. Then, of course, Danielle Bennett does not one but two demos. She did a great tri-tip demo, and she also did what was it? I think it was chicken? Yeah, she did a chicken taco recipe, which I had never seen her do before. Usually she does the ribeye steak stack, and she cuts down the center of 10 ribeye steaks, and they're all the same color on the inside because it's reverse sear and all that fun stuff. Danielle is just the consummate professional educator, tells jokes. We have really great repartee between us. She said, I think the highlight of the whole day for me when we were doing demos together is she used the word demure. I've never heard her say demure in my life, and I'm just struck as she's talking about it. She was talking about chopping something up, and she says the word demure, and without thinking, I just hit the mic, and I said, Danielle, that is the word I most associate with you, and that is demure. And she started laughing right in the middle of the demo, just a nice little comic relief there, but she's just a pleasure to work with. And then there was the big green egg guy. So Captain Ron, as Steve said last week on the show, that he came down with pneumonia, wasn't going to be able to make it. So they took a guy out of the competition tent. He's, I guess, a fairly locally known big green egg competitor. He does Egg Fest and stuff like that. Not like KCBS stuff or anything. And they said, hey, would you mind coming out of the tent? Instead of competing, would you do a live demo? I don't think he had done a live demonstration and this kind of thing. By all accounts, did a pretty good job. I tried to help him along where I could. There's some things we could work on if he was going to be brought back to do it again. I would assume that if Captain Ron is available, he would be the guy you would want to book on the heels of his success last year. But, you never know. The one thing that I'm pointing out here, and I didn't hear of anybody getting sick, which is great. He did these shotgun shells. So is it manicotti shells? He stuffed them with sausage, and he wraps them in bacon. It was sausage and hamburger meat. It was a combination of meat in the middle, wraps it in bacon, puts it on the grill, and then you cover it in sauce at some point, and, finish it that way. You've seen these shotgun shells. At some point during the cook, he's, stuffing the shells, gloved up, stuffing the shells, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, whatever it was. And then one of his assistants comes through and brings in a pan of cooked shotgun shells. And they pour the barbecue sauce over it. And then he goes in to the shotgun shells and starts mixing the sauce and the shotgun shells together. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not eating any of those. Probably due to the pressure and not having done it, and for a multitude of reasons that I am affording him full, non-purposeful doing this. Look, this is the point I'm trying to make. Just because you have gloves on doesn't mean you're bulletproof. If you have your gloves in raw meat, you can't put those same glove hands on anything else. Those gloves got to come off, and you got to put new gloves on. So, he's in there mixing the cooked shotgun shells now with hands that were just stuffing raw meat into the shotgun shells as he was showing process. So we don't want to do that. We want to not use... But again, I think people get into the clip, where he's trying not to make mistakes and he's trying to explain process, and it's something he probably just would have done normally, switch out, but it didn't happen. So always be cognizant if you're doing demos to not forget the safety part, the food safety part first, right? Other than that, huge event, a lot of giveaways, a lot of game show stuff. Surprisingly, a lot of people not interested in winning free stuff because I think they're worried that if they answered the question wrong, we're going to make fun of people or not. Meanwhile, they're giving away Weber Q1000 portable grills. It's crazy the prizes that they were giving away. Winery and Rehab made a reappearance. A Cheese or Font made an appearance once more. That's everybody's favorite game. Had a bunch of trivia that I was at. Steve, Kelly, just super great. So great to see everybody. Happy to all the people that stopped by, introduced themselves to me, said they were fans of the show. Very humbling. I am constantly operating under the impression that nobody actually listens to the show. It's just me talking into a microphone for 2 hours. So great to see everybody, and looking forward to seeing everybody at the 11th annual Grill Fest a year from now. So there's your recap. Gordon Thompson of Engine 2 Barbecue will be on the show next week to talk about the contest results. All right, we're a little late here. Let me do this quick read for Primo Grills, and then we'll get caught up there into the second hour as we're getting ready for Barbecue Halls of Fame. Or Barbecue Central Show Guests Hall of Fame, I should say. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they are fuel efficient, of course. We love that you can reach low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We also love the ability to do high temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But you really can't do two-zone cooking because, of course, you have a round ceramic cooker. Well, not with Primo. They have a game-changing oval design. You can execute that two-zone setup that you desire, and it gives you other ceramic grill benefits as well. Best ceramics in the biz, patented technology, true two-zone cooking capabilities, multiple sizes of ovals, and only sold through dealers. So go to primogrill.com, find the dealer near you, visit them, touch them in person. Who's ready for a Primo? You're ready for a Primo, I know it. All right, we're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. Now we'll get an update on that. All right, let's quickly head out of here for the second hour. We'll catch up on the YouTube poll, and then we'll load in for the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. You are listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate sushi or wieners.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show airs live every Tuesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. You can catch hour number one's audio podcast on Wednesday. You can catch hour number two in audio podcast on Thursdays. We'll talk about Friday here in a minute. Barbecue Central Show coming to you live and direct from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, the embedded correspondents are joining me. Doug from Texas, John from Michigan, Rusty from the great city of Utah, and Matt Osmond from Tennessee. We will be nominating and then ultimately inducting a new Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame class. You know what that means for the balance of the year. We'll take those people and we will start doing origin stories. Everybody loving the origin stories the last handful of years. So that will obviously continue as we close out 2024, which is rapidly coming to a close. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, where our good pal Terry Howe is watching, and he's saying City of Utah. Terry, this is what we call a inside joke. So Trust me, I know what I'm saying when I say the great city of Utah. You can also watch on the Tweeter, which is twitter.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch the show on YouTube, where we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. The Ninja gas and hot air powered grill will actually happen in 2025. For a brief moment, we were stuck at a stalemate of 50-50, but 56% of you are saying, no, that's not going to happen. I think if Ninja has a picture out there of it, at some point, that is actually going to happen. So I'm going to say yes, that is going to happen. In 2025, I think so. There's a lot of commonality that I see with some of the other cookers out there. Not the gas, hot air powered commonality, but there's some aesthetics that I see on some of that other stuff. So we'll see what the embedded correspondents have to say to that before we get into the Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Fame stuff. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 352, taking you back to September 24th of 2013. This week, John featuring a group segment with Barry Martin, a.k.a. CB, and Larry Gain, which I believe on the social medias back then was Barbecue Grail, I think. Just going off of memory, but I think I'm right on that one. Also, Larry, I believe, credited with making something called the Moink Ball, which was a meatball smoked, like moink, moo, oink. Maybe it was a combination of, I don't think it was a combination of ground pork and beef. I don't know, but I remember Larry Gain and Moink Ball being highly associated. This is 11 years ago, for crying out loud. In this segment, and I'm going to say something that I have not done research on this, but I think I actually did a few of these segments with these guys, but in this particular one, we do myth busting. Everybody loves myth busting, of course. I have no idea what's happened to both or either Barry and Larry, or Barry or Larry, and to be honest, are they alive? Are they doing well? I don't know. I hope they are alive. I hope they are doing well, but this is a good show, as they all are. John's such a magician at putting these 10-minute spots together, and we are inching closer and closer to episode 400, which to me is insane. And by the way, just for comparison's sake, 400 is a huge number for any podcast these days. Since tracking statistical analysis with Blueberry, the Barbecue Central Show has in excess of 1,600 episodes. Wowzer. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment that you think's been lost in these archives, email John. Let him know what you would like to hear. John's email address is John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. You also have to subscribe to the podcast feed in order to hear the best of show. You can subscribe to that by going to the website, thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. And it will show up in your podcast feed. Every Friday, you'll get the alert. Let me see if I can go back to this. No, I don't want that. I want the open one. Let's see. Yeah. Before we jump into it, let me give you the update, because we're not going to get to it during the next segment or two. Final call, because in a week from now, it's going to be October 1st. As I mentioned, 2024 rapidly coming to a close. So if you want this sweet shirt, you're going to have to email me very soon. In the subject line, shirt promo. And then I'm taking payments through Venmo. And the Venmo handle is at Greg Rempe, GREGREMPE, at Greg Rempe. Last four digits of the cell phone. So I think you need those for the first time you do something. Doug was telling me all about it. I lost interest when he started talking. All four zeros at the end. Uh-oh. That's not using the right link. Stand by. Matt, I don't think you're using the right link. You have to use the link that's on the agenda, which is in red at the top. I think you bumped John Solberg out. I think. Doug, are you using the link on the document? Just give me a wave so I can see in the little switch box. You use the one on the document? Yeah, okay. So you need to go hit the one that says Matt in red and show up in a different box. Otherwise, we got no John Solberg. And that would be tragic, my friends. Tragic! Anyway, back to shirt sales. So it's Venmo is at Greg Rempe, all run together. And then the last 4 digits of the cell phone, if they ask you for confirmation, all 4 zeros. And then send me the following monies for normal sizes, which range from small to extra large, $35. You can Venmo me that amount. You can also send me a check. But if I don't have the check by next Monday, if I get it on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm just sending it back to you. We're not dicking around here. We are adhering to the rules. Without rules, there's chaos. We all know this. So size small to XL, $35. Size 2XL, $37. Size 3XL, $39. Size 4XL, $41. And size 5XL is $43. And again, that includes shipping from my home base to wherever it is you are. And we're taking orders until the end of the day next Monday, the 30th. We have over 30 shirts already in total paid for. So in my estimation, pretty big order. Nothing I can make a living off of, and that's why I don't sell shirts and keep inventory, because it's nonsense, but we did it this time. And again, this is the only shirt. It's this navy blue, and it says this, like no options here other than sizing options. That's it. So if you're interested, get on your horse. One of you, I'm still waiting for payment on. I've shot you an email as well. I will remove you. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just let me know. And that's your shirt update. We're ready to go. We're going to do a Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Oh, for Christ's sake. Now I got to fix something during the show. I don't like fixing things during the show. Okay? I don't. But I'm going to. These guys keep trading in and out. Jesus Christ. Matt, they're trading in and out. John, you keep bumping in. As soon as you're out, you keep bumping into there. I just sent Matt a new link. Matt's working his way off the show. Very quickly, I might add. The Anthony Lujan would be less of a pain in the ass. Maybe not. All right, as we wait for Matt to load in, I'll talk to you quickly about Franklin Barbecue Pits. The Franklin Pit is primarily made of 1/4-inch thick American-made steel. Anything that sees heat, engineered to be incredibly solid, should last at least a century or more if cared for properly. The thickness of that steel guarantees professional-grade heat retention, a critical component to making great barbecue. Every Franklin Pit, unique unto itself, to include its own natural markings and its own badged number. Yes. Stylistically reflecting the kind of bare-bones industrial handmade aesthetic that Aaron loves, Franklin Pits can be found at fine barbecue specialty stores in select regions of the country. If you, the listener, own such a store, you wish to become a certified Franklin dealer, please visit franklinbbqpits.com, fill out the dealer form. If you, the listener of the show, want a Franklin barbecue pit and you live in a part of the country that doesn't have a certified Franklin dealer, you can visit franklinbbqpits.com and purchase a pit right online. Franklin Pits will ship you a Franklin pit right to your driveway. Either way, you own a store, you want to carry pits, you can do it. If you want to buy one, you don't live near a specialty store that's a dealer, you can buy it direct online. franklinbbqpits.com, and we are back with the embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a professional, it's just a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com. Tell them Barbecue Central Show sent you. In fact, I got a text message from Amber Glanville over at Pit Barrel Cooker, and they're going to be coming on soon. So stay tuned for that. Happy to have that. We have no time to waste. We have a 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame nomination ceremony to start with, and then that will preclude or culminate in a 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Helping me do that are none other than the embedded correspondents. You would know them as Doug Scheiding, John Solberg, and Rusty Monson, and Matt Osman. Doug's right there to my right, and right to the right of Doug is John, and below me is Rusty, and caddy corner bottom middle is Matt from Tennessee. Matt, what link were you using?
It was the one that I had saved, maybe an older one.
It's on the document. Your link is on the document.
I apologize.
You're on thin ice. You're on thin ice. All right. We have 100% assurity questions if we need to get to them, because there is a shot that we all utter the same 5 names 5 times in a row and have a unanimous class. Has it ever happened? It has never happened. Could it happen? Sure. Why not? And Doug will start us off. And once again, quick review of the rules. Everybody will go through and mention 5 names who they feel are most deserving to be Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. If for some reason we have the magical culmination of unanimousness, not a word, then it all ends right there. We have a quick class, and there we go. We go into the 100% assurity questions. If not, we start going into the argumentary phase and start picking our favorites. We make a plea. We have to go around everybody on the dais who is not making the plea. Everybody has to agree that that person is in, because this is the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame, and it's not majority, it's unanimous, and that's how we do it here. So without any further ado, sure I'm taking proper notes here. Everybody loves when we do this. Doug, your names and why you pick them.
My first name is Chris Young.
Wow.
7 times I believe he has been on in the last 2.5 years. And his last appearance, I just listened to it again last week, on April 30th, was a steak PhD master class.
Magical.
On the no rest. I mean, he's our own Dr. Blonder. Meathead and Kenji are asking him to retest and give them information. They're looking to him as the expert. He deserves to be in.
He's a 50-year younger Meathead. Let's say that. How about that?
Sorry,
a
biochemist and a 3-star chef.
And like a multi-millionaire probably as well. So he's got everything going for him. Great hair, you name it.
And combustion appears on my Instagram like every other minute. So
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Next.
In no certain order, of
course.
I have to undo what I forgot last year and didn't understand. Matt freaking Frampton needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So if only last year this wasn't mentioned, this stands on itself. He helped write the Christmas song.
Yes.
And that's played every year.
Co-wrote.
Every year it's on the bar. I know. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, John. I didn't remember that. I just associated with the Urban Slicer, and I thought, oh yeah, he's been on before. Hell, he used to be on a barbecue team, and so anyway, so yeah. Enough said. I think I think other people, John will fill me in on other things I've missed out. Number 3, in no order. I'm going Andy Husbands. That guy brings the knowledge, and he is one of the nicest people. He reminds me of Bob Trudnick in many different ways. I actually had some questions, and I reached out to him. This is probably 3 years ago, and on kind of trademarks and book writing and stuff like that. He gave me his cell phone number and then called me and told me to call him the next day.
Wow.
And on the show, this last appearance, I mean, it was just a fantastic appearance. So earlier in this year, so Trailblazer, barbecue champion, the Northeast. I think he won the Jack. Restaurant. I mean, what else? Other types of knowledge that he brings to the show. So
purveyor of barbecue nuts as well.
Oh, yeah. Right. I wouldn't know, but apparently you do now. So
I do.
Yes.
Very good.
All right. So, and I loved the when he was last on. You pay rent all day long.
That's right.
So I love that one.
Never forget.
All right, number 4, Fred Bernardo.
Wow.
Now, for some of the youngins, they're not gonna know who this is. So, Fred was on the show, I think, from like what I looked at, August 2008 to 2014. He was probably on 12 to 14 episodes.
Easily.
He had easily. Yeah. So I could just find a 12 to 14 on my first search. So last night. So smoking guitar player, he went by with Tasty Licks Blues Band, Fred's Music Shop in Pennsylvania.
Shillington.
There was yes. And there was a post by a gentleman named Derek Thielball posted to our show page. Thielball. Okay, thank you. 3 of us agreed. He mentioned him as being in the Hall of Fame worthy, and 3 of us on this call tonight agreed with that assessment. So, Fred Bernardo.
All right, last
Can't
one.
Forget him. He retired in 2017. I didn't know that. So, my last one. This is going to be interesting. Stephen DeFranco.
Wow.
Jeweler of the Stars.
Wow.
I'm going Stephen. Here's why. I mean, he was a sponsor. I did research last night looking at, from 11 to 14, he was like a consummate advertiser on the show.
Yes.
And let's say that he helped with the watch fascination of the show that's gone on for many stinking years.
Undoubtedly.
Exactly, John. Exactly. So, and he's right there in Willoughby, Ohio, is he not? Yes. This would be
on a bad day. He's 2 minutes from my house.
Right. Yeah. How and what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he the first in studio guest?
Yeah. No, I believe Michael McDermott was probably the first in studio.
Okay, John's shaking
Unless
his
we're counting
head on
my
that.
parents. My parents, John? Was it my parents? Yeah. Okay. Outside of my parents, I believe it was
Correct.
Michael
You're
McDermott.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So anyway, but he was so long ago. He was up there probably second or third. So I'm going. Those are my 5.
All right. Very good. So we got a Chris Young, a Matt Frampton, and Andy Husbands, a Fred Bonato, and Steve DeFranco. Now we will move to the guy that knows more about the show than me. We will go to John Solberg, where we will get his 5. John, in no particular order.
And just quick clarification, Billy Carroll might have been the first in-studio guest before Michael.
I was thinking that too, but
it's
geez,
close. I'd have to check it.
Tough. Yeah,
it's
indeed.
It's a tough one.
Yep.
So, great list, Doug, first of all. So I'm going to, in no particular order, here's my list. Christy Vanover.
Right.
Because it's time, Rusty. Because it's time. Okay?
That's the reason?
That's the reason.
Because it's time?
Because it's time.
I should be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame by that logic.
So, my next pick is Kevin Bevington.
Ah, yes.
Kevin Bevington, because it's time.
It's time.
Because it's time. I mean, FBA, freaking God, Outdoor Cooking Channel. He was a guest on the show.
Anytime.
He's not always a great guest, but he's always a great sounding guest.
Yes.
His tech was spot on.
Way ahead of time.
2011.
Way ahead of his time.
It was miraculous. So, Kevin Bevington.
All right.
Moving on down my list. Goes without saying, Fred Bernardo.
Ooh.
Right?
All right.
Something that people, 2005, 2006, Fred Bernardo was making YouTube videos, making rub and stuff.
Yeah.
He was actually like a YouTube beyond the show. I don't know, he really helped carry the show a long time. Can't speak to that, but Greg, I'm sure you'd agree. He was the main sponsor for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Had my number 5 on the list. I only had number 4.
Yep, that's number 4.
I jumped around. Matt Frampton.
Right.
Grill on Grill Action. Right.
Hot,
the Christmas
hot
song.
grill on grill
hot
action.
Grill on Grill Action. The 12 days and
look, John, I don't want to interrupt you here, but just for confirmation here, I sat down with Matt Frampton and Mike Lang and one of Mike Lang's whoever runs the what do you call those things? The exhibitions for Weber now. I think his name was Matt, whiskey guy, cigar guy. We played the 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas for everybody at the table, and everybody lost their shit as I'm singing it, and Matt's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that was the lyric there." It was like bringing all kinds of nostalgia, or as the kids say, we were in our feels for a good 2 or 3 minutes during the evening.
And it is the Alice's Restaurant of Thanksgiving to the Barbecue Central Show Christmas.
That's right. That's right.
So it's going to go down. So, and my number 5 pick is Greg Rempe. Because it's time. He finally checked it off. I can say you only have to be on the show to qualify. I qualify a month ago as an interview, which makes it a life event, which actually in my brain qualifies you for the Hall of Fame.
All right. Very good. That's John's list right there. Now we go to the 3rd longest running embedded correspondent ever on the face of the earth. Somebody from a city that is also a state known as Utah, Rusty Monson. Rusty, first and foremost, how's your life?
It's good, man. I think that I had 2 days off in a row. That was awesome. Today's one of them. And so I mean, we have FanX coming up. We're gonna get murderized, but after that, it should slow down a little bit. And I hope not, but it should. And that might be good. Might be.
Do you have a list tonight?
I do, sir. I have a list.
All right. Let's hear the list in no particular order.
Happy that Doug agreed with me on Andy Husbands. I think I've been pushing that for this is my 3rd year, and you fools have not waken up to the idea that he is one of the greatest guests you've ever had. And as Doug alluded to, one of the greatest guys there is. He again with me. He would talk about food costs and stuff, and he's like, "Man, email me anytime, call me anytime. You have any questions, let me know."
Wow,
that dude runs what? He's opening. I know he at least has 3 restaurants now.
Oh, it was 6.
I didn't know easy task. I haven't paid attention in a while, but he was opening new ones like crazy, and he has time to take Doug's call. He has time to answer my emails, and all that. So Andy is, I think that's a shoe, and I don't even think we should do any voting. Let's just put that one in. My next one, and I just gotta get out of the way because this is my third year. Also nominating Emily Detweiler, and I will until you guys come along like you did with Andy. You guys are coming along to my way of thinking, and I think Emily's gonna get there one day. Emily, who ran KCBS for a really long time, I think got it into a pretty good spot. I loved when she was on the show. She's really, really a sweet girl. Very, very nice.
Lady.
Really lady. Fine. Again, Christy Vanover. These are my lists every year, so we're just going to keep at them until we get them. I agree with John. It's just about time. Christy is, man, you could go on for days on what she does for barbecue right now. She has her hands in every fire, literally, and she kicks ass, and she's just the neatest person, and she's a hell of a cook, man. I ain't going to say names, but you know, have these big cooks on here. They cook food. They do okay, but man, she knocks it out of the park. She's the cook's cook. My other one, Todd Bullock, because without Todd, there's no Susie really right now. They kind of go hand in hand. Susie got nominated, and she's in the Hall of Fame. At this point, why not Todd? Super fun to listen to him talk. He's a really interesting fellow. I just like listening to their segments with Todd. I like Todd. He's a funny guy.
Rusty, I'm not questioning your accuracy here, but is Susie Bullock in the Hall of Fame? Yeah?
Yeah, because I put her there.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
No, we
fine.
put her
2020.
there, sir. We put her there.
Yes, yeah. That had to have been unanimous. I just don't recall it. But I don't recall yesterday, so that doesn't mean anything.
I'm taking credit.
All right.
Okay.
Last?
That's the last one?
No. You have one more left.
This is going to sound funny. This was going to be, I just keep on spacing his name, but it was
And
one of
you
my
say
favorite
Pat
interviews.
LaFrida, I'm going to jump through the wall.
I don't even know who that is. Who's Pat LaFrida?
I don't know.
Some dude you guys made up. I'm going to say, and I don't know his last name. I hate to say this. It's so funny because I actually had someone a name. I changed it last night because his interview was so great. And actually, really, it was a really good one. It was one of my favorite, probably put on the top 3 interviews of all times. And he was a former embedded correspondent, Steve
Ray.
Steve Ray. Thank you. Really cool interview, man. And if we're going to go off interviews and put that one on my top 3, the other 2 are already here. Might as well throw Steve on there. That's my top 5.
All right. So Rusty is Steve Ray, Todd Bullock, Emily Detweiler, Christy Vanover, Andy Husbands. We do have a couple of repeating names, which is good to see. We will now go to the greenhorn of the bunch, Matt Osmond from Tennessee. Matt, your names in no particular order.
In no particular order. Amy Mills. I think she deserves it. I think her connection to barbecue via her father with her participation in the Hall of Fame. I think why not get her into this Hall of Fame? Number 2, Wes Wright. His immense knowledge, his dedication, the way he delivers his interviews with you, class act, sound mind, knows his barbecue. Number 3, Steve Ray. Rusty must have been thinking about some good old times. I had a conversation. I was this close to stopping by on my way to Savannah, but time didn't allow. Huge contribution to the show. Great knowledge, great advocate for the industry. I'm going to go with a more recent one, Andrew Zimmerman.
Ooh. It's Zimmern, by the way, if we're being correct.
Correct.
Zimmern.
I believe Zimmern. His
That's one of the most intelligent questions anybody has ever asked.
Thank you.
If for no other reason than that. But no, he flowed. You chased it down. You stood your ground on it, and I think that interview stood its test and was well worth your persistence and dedication to your audio quality and to chasing him. And Byron Chisholm. I was somewhat a little flabbergasted that he wasn't already in there, especially from one of the originals, but he is not. And I think his repeat time on here, again, the butt rub. I mean, what else do you need to know about it? But those are my lists.
All right, now I have my 5. By the way, Matt's Amy Mills, Wes Wright, Steve Ray, Andrew Zimmern, and Byron Chisholm. My 5 are as follows. And we did have a repeat as well in some of these last 2 as well. My first one, I can't believe he's not in here. Mike McLeod from World Food Championships, been on the show numerous times. I think, as I said last week or the week before, dating all the way back to 2010, so 15 years of interviews, first as MMA Creative's president and CEO, which was the marketing arm that was doing work for KCBS at the time, ultimately creating World Food Championships, seeing wide amount of success, but still very accessible, still breaking news here on the show and being a great guest and giving takes, sometimes hot takes, could get him in trouble, but he's not afraid to share a hot take when it warrants it. So nominating Mike McLeod, number 1. This is a repeat name. Making it 3 in a row, Steve Ray is getting my nomination. So a huge and integral part of the show when he was first a Tennessee embedded correspondent. Who can possibly forget the catalyst, the main driver of getting Craig Barr on the show? The guy that was single-handedly trying to put Popeye's Chicken out of business because the parking lot had too many potholes and he had cracked the wheels on his excessively expensive Mercedes-Benz or BMW. And the guy gave an interview. I mean, that guy should probably be in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. That was an interview the likes we have never seen before or since. So on the strength of that alone, I see Steve Ray coming in. Then Steve quit the show. Then he shows up many years later to really regale us with everything that happened, became ultra vulnerable, sharing his experience with what his wife was going through and how he was dealing with that. And then has circled back to rejoin the show in some type of semi-recurring sense, seeing a lot of success following the competitive food sport world. And so that's my take on Steve Ray. Next one, also a repeater. Matt Frampton, the Pizziolo de Pizziolis, of course. So big fan of Matt, always been a big fan of Matt from when he was with Hot Grill on Grill Action, then getting into the pizza scene. Of course, being able to see him live and in person the last 2 years in a row down at Hartville, Hardware's GRILLFEST. Just a great human, giving great interviews here on this show in a number of fashions. Of course, writing the 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas with Logan Hendrickson. That's a huge achievement in its own right. Also, another repeating name. We're just repeating names all over the place here tonight. Fred Bonato, the smoking guitar player. Doug and John both gave all the qualification that you need. Might I remind you that on this show, at least twice, he wrote original acoustic guitar songs, one by the name of Barbecue One, which is a song that he wrote about his old competition RV unit that he would take to barbecue competitions. But a longtime supporter of the show from a sponsorship standpoint, but also came on and gave just really great, entertaining, informational interviews for years and years before he divested completely out of the business, both from a barbecue side and a music side. And then rounding out my top 5, another name that's already been mentioned, Chris Young. Few have taken this show by such storm, given incredible amount of information and great interviews and technical insight and taking on things and then coming on this show. So we're watching the video, then he's coming on this show and we're diving even deeper into the mindset. He's giving us his thoughts on why it was important, the feedback that he's getting, the hate that he's getting from some people because he's challenging what a lot of these wives' tales have led you to believe for so long. So that's my list. Mike McLeod, Steve Ray, Matt Frampton, Fred Bernardo, and Chris Young. So I don't think we have any unanimous right off the bat, but we are close on a number. So we'll circle back to Doug here. Doug, out of all of the 5 that you gave us originally, pick one that you feel is most deserving. And if you would like to further bolster an argument, we'll go around the dais and try and get a unanimous vote to get the first person into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'll go back to Matt Frampton. We had 3 of us that went with him. So the Christmas song. That's all you need to say.
All right, so we know where John stands on that. John was a Fred Bernardo appreciator. We'll go to Matt Osman. I'm sorry, Matt Frampton. Did I say Fred Bernardo?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Matt Frampton. So John was also a supporter of Matt Frampton. We will go to Matt Osman and get a yes or no on the Pizzaiolo de Pizziolis. Do you think that Matt Frampton is Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame worthy in 2024?
Yes, I do.
Yes, all right. And that is 4. We are 1 away from a unanimous. We give it to Mr. Positivity, Rusty Monson. Is it a yes or no for the Pizzaiolo de Pizziolis?
Considering he was on my list last year and I totally forgot about him this year, I'm going to say yes.
All right. So we got a Matt Frampton in, which is great. That's giving me hope for ongoing names here. John, you're up next. So Matt Frampton is in. We can cross him off the list here. Out of the 4 that you have remaining left, would you want to renominate somebody with a little extra bolstering, or do you want to bring somebody brand new into the mix?
As much as I might like to bring somebody brand new into the mix or switch, I'm halfway up the hill I've been saying I've been going to die on since we started this. And it's time to put Fred Bernardo in. Matt's in, Fred's in. Fred's still with us, as far as I know.
Yes, he is.
Let's get him in here while he can, that dude was, go back and listen. Yeah, there's time for some of these. Now, we all could die tomorrow. However, some of these people that built the show, the show might not even be here if it wasn't for Fred. So I'm not saying he carried it, but he sure did a lot of heavy lifting. So I'm going to try to get to the top of my hill with Fred.
All right, let's go to Mr. Positivity this time, because Doug is a smoking guitar player devotee, as am I, so we only need 2 more votes to get us in there. Rusty, yes or no on the smoking guitar player?
I don't know who he is, but John convinced me to say yes, because I like, if that's what he did and that's what he's about, then absolutely he should be in here. Let's do it.
All right. We are very close here on the cusp of putting 2 of 5 in. We go to Matt Osman from Tennessee. Matt, is it a yes or no for the smoking guitar player?
Yes.
Wow. Fred Bernardo is in. He comes off the list. Very good. Now we will go to our pal Rusty Monson from the great city of Utah. Who are you renominating to try and get into the hall here? It's tough for Rusty. Look at him. It's debating.
Well, I think it's got to be Andy Husbands. I think that's by a hair. I'm going to nominate Andy just because he needs to be in here. He's awesome. And the more you have him on the show, the better. That guy's a great interview.
All right, so we don't need to go to Doug. He is a Andy Husbands devotee. We will go to Matt Osman for a yes or no on Andy Husbands.
No.
And just like that, Andy Husbands is off the list again this year. We will go to Matt Osman for somebody that he would like to renominate. Matt, go ahead.
Can I bring somebody new in?
You can bring somebody new in if you would like.
Damon Rodriguez.
Damien,
excuse me. Damian Rodriguez.
Do you want to talk him up, or you just want to hope everybody knows who he is?
No. He was the illustrator, I believe is the correct word, behind some of the illustrations put to the audio of several guests and sound bites. Year plus back, I think he did a handful of them, if I'm not mistaken. It was a kind of a quiver interview, but he qualifies, and I found those illustrations to be spot on in his work counts.
Right, so Matt bucking conventional wisdom here, bringing in somebody out of the bullpen that out of the 5 that he originally nominated. Dangerous, but we'll see what happens. Let's go to Mr. Positivity here, Rusty Monson from Utah. Rusty, Damien, yes or no?
No, I don't know who he is. Sorry.
And that was a risky move there, Matt, but I appreciate the balls that you did to do that. I am going to... We put him in, so we can remove him. Who else did we put in? Matt Frampton, right. Okay. I renominate the first embedded correspondent from Tennessee, Steve Ray. Thank you. And Rusty was a devotee of Steve Ray, and Matt Osman was a devotee of Steve Ray. So we have the 3 votes on the bottom, and now we're going to go directly to the top, where the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, Doug Scheiding, will weigh in with a yes or no. Steve Ray into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame, Doug.
Yeah, when he left, there was some problems that between he and I, and when he came back on,
are you spilling the tea, Doug?
Interview, yeah, I mean,
okay.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Right. So anyway, so all you have to do, play the tape. You can figure it out.
All right.
When he came back on, and I understood what he was going through, it was just amazing. So. Absolutely. And I love it when Steve Ray would have the Butcher Barbecue on his show when he was doing a contest so he could get a new recipe and cook that at the, but that's neither here nor there. He'd have him on and, hey, what do you do for wings? And, oh, I happen to have a wing contest. Anyway, love him. Let him in.
All right.
I'm a yes.
That's 4. We only need 1 more to get Steve Ray in there. John Solberg, is it a yes or a no? Is Steve Ray in?
I'm just recovering from Doug's comment on there was problems, and like you're the only dude that didn't know. Like you were just not paying attention.
I think everybody loves everybody. I'm like Mr. Positivity Jr. next to Rusty. That's it.
I was stuck between them 2 kids, man. Like I was constantly, I was just like trying to be Switzerland in this
ping pong.
Because I love them both. I love them both so much, and he's a great nomination, and he's earned his place in the Hall of Fame. Steve Ray's in for me.
So now we have 3, which means we have 2 left, and we've been through the whole slew here once, so we'll return to Doug. Doug, give us another name, and hopefully we can get number 4 into the Hall of Fame here. Go ahead.
Well, Damien's already been mentioned, and I do like him because he did an animation. It's on my website for my rant on hot dogs. So go to roadcookers.com if you want to see who Damien is. I am going to go back to Chris Young. I think I agree with, I think it was you, Greg, that mentioned Chris Young and what he's brought to the show. The intelligence and everything that he brings, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
And I think he's been on 7 times. Yeah, 7 times in 2.5 years.
We have 2. We have 2 of 5 votes to get Chris Young into the Hall of Fame. Mr. Positivity, Chris Young into the Hall of Fame, yes or no?
Why do you got to start with me?
I don't think it matters where we start on this one, unfortunately, but go ahead.
This guy's been nominated like, am I correct here? It's been like every year. I feel like this dude
last 3 years in a row, I believe. Like right from the get-go. Right from the get-go.
Yeah, he's been that good.
Yeah, I remember his interview, one of them at least, and I think just I'm going to give a yes based off of that and how often everyone wants to do it in. I just got to let you guys have yours.
Matt Osman. Is Chris Young getting into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow. All right. It's enough of a gap to make me question where you were going with that. We are now one away. John Solberg, the executive producer of the Barbecue Central Show, in 10 minutes or less. Yeah, 10 minutes or less. Chris Young getting into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame, yes or no?
He's been on this board a long time. Yeah, let's move him off this fucking board so we can move on.
Right. Now, remember, John, if you don't want to, you don't have to. This is every man standing on their own moral compass.
Hey, we got to
no peer
work across
pressure.
Aisles here. We got to move things forward.
This isn't a republic or a democracy. This is like a free for. This is the Wild West. Yeah, this is the Wild West. This is a kangaroo court.
Every person that we speak of on this segment is worthy. No one is ever unworthy on these nominations.
That's right, because they were all guests at least once, so that qualifies them. Okay, we got one spot left in the inn. John, it's your turn to renominate. Who are you going with?
Oh man, this is tough, but there's a chance with it. I'm going to go off the grid. I'm going off my original, and I'm going with Wes Wright.
Oh, Wes Wright.
Because I'm going with Wes Wright. Because he has been on my list for a few years, but I'm going to say Wes Wright. Where's he at in the mix? He's got
2 of 5 votes right here. Matt Osman mentioned him. So we're 2/5 of the way there.
And Wes is that's the information that I enjoy the most, equipment. So I'm very biased toward his content. He does a great job. He's really on the inside. He's the Chris Young of the gear, if you look at it that way. The guy brings the heat on the equipment. And we can compare him to some other websites, fire experts, no names, please. And you go like, oh, look, this guy is a genius when it comes to the equipment and how the business is run.
Let's go over to Doug, right next to John. Matt was the only other Wes Wright devotee at this point. Doug, is Wes Wright in, yes or no?
I'll be like, Chris, why do you have to come to me first? But he is the new Derek Riches of our show, in my opinion. He gives a lot of information, wealth of knowledge. Okay. To Greg's show. That's right. Point taken. 14 to 15 times I looked up. He was actually, even though they were in no certain order, he was number 6 on my list. So I'm saying yes.
All right. That now gets us 3/5 of the way. We'll go to the great city of Utah, where our pal Rusty Monson, a.k.a. Mr. Positivity, will tell us, is Wes Wright into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame, yes or no?
I think there's better people.
Okay.
In my opinion. So I'm going to say no.
Unpositivity, Rusty Monson. All right. John, that was almost a great pull. Came up just a little bit short. Matt, just for shits and giggles, were you a yes or a no?
Oh, I was a yes. I nominated him.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, I'm not going to tell you how I was going to vote. So we'll go to Rusty Monson, who will now renominate. Go ahead, Rusty.
First of all, I'd really like to know how you'd vote on that one. I feel like we should know.
I was going to vote yes, of course. I mean, he's a huge contributor to my show. Yeah.
I was really gambling there to make myself feel a little bit better, but I rolled the dice, and it was just snake eyes.
Yeah, you took a shit all over it, but go ahead.
Hey, man, it gives us something for next year.
I hear you.
100% Christy Vanover. She is awesome. And if you don't know much about her, because maybe she's not new by any means, but she is, I'm going to reiterate, she is really, really all over the place. She's just awesome. As far as knowledge, as far as cooking skill, as far as an interview goes, she's great to listen to. I would love to have her on the show. If you ever nominated someone to be a quarterly guest, that'd be my first person that I would nominate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going Christy Vanover.
All right. As I peruse the list, John was a Christy Vanover devotee. which means we'll go to Matt Osmond from Tennessee. Christy Vanover, yes or no, into the Guest Hall of Fame this year?
Not to have the volley with Rusty, but Amy Mills, in my opinion, no.
Right. Doug, just for fun, were you a yes or a no?
Not yet.
Also, I was a no.
I was going to withdraw mine, Rusty. Just because of Wes Wright, you bitch.
All right, let's play nice, guys. All right, Matt Osmond, you have time to re-nominate. And by the way, Wes Wright was right there. I mean, 4/5 in, and Rusty said, no, wait until next year. All right, Matt, who we re-nominate?
It's got to be Amy Mills. I'm not biased because of my monetary success this past weekend, but she is a legacy. No,
what does that mean?
Right there.
No.
What does that mean, Matt?
He plays
We brought home
this
an
weekend.
apple.
Oh, look at you. All right, go for you. Go for you.
First
no,
in
she-
ribs, was it not? Yes.
Second in pork.
All right, enough of that. We're doing a Hall of Fame thing here, and we're running out of time.
Amy Mills.
Okay, I'll go first. And we're moving on. I will nominate. Ooh, wait. Shit. I mean, it's not like I was picking really well, but 4/5 of my people have gotten into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame this time around. Oh, wait. No, that's the wrong name. I didn't want to delete that one. Huh. Well. Let's look this over. We voted Christy out. Husbands was out. I think I'm going to re-nominate Mike McLeod. Again, 10, 12 plus interviews over the course of 15 years. Started in competition barbecue, giving hot takes about KCBS and unveiling things like the Sam's Club when nobody knew what the hell that was. Eventually starting World Food Championships, giving great interviews about that, dropping exclusives, always available. And again, not afraid of a hot take when one is offered. So I am re-nominating Mike McLeod for 2024's Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame for a huge body of work in multiple different sectors or disciplines within the live fire industry. John, yes or no on Mike McLeod?
You just reminded me of something that was really big that I was overlooking.
All right.
Mike McLeod would be driving down the road and pull over on the side of the road and take a call and come on the show.
Yes.
And just like that sentence show, I am embarrassed that I have never considered him for the Hall of Fame. Yes, he has my vote.
Now, remember, we're the same group of guys who 2 years ago hadn't put Chris Lilly into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. So we are not above reproach. Let's just say that. All right, so we have, where's my Mike McLeod? 1. We have 2/3. Rusty, yes or no on Mike McLeod?
Love his interviews. Actually, they're super great. Great one. Yes.
All right. That's 3/5. Feeling a little momentum building here. Matt Osmond, yes or no on Mike McLeod?
Leave it up to Doug. Bring him in.
Leave it up to Doug. World Food Championships, Bitterman, Doug, Road Cookers, Scheiding. Let's leave it up to him. Doug, moral compass is yours. Is Mike McLeod in, yes or no?
Those 3 hour for 5 or 6 days are tough to overlook, but he has been a stalwart and done many things, including, coming on and with KCBS, and he's a straight shooter, in my opinion, when he does come on the show, and he brings a lot of knowledge and from a marketing standpoint. So overlooking that, I'm going to say yes.
Yes. Boys, we did it just like that. It only took 45 minutes to put 5 new people in. And by the way, all 5 of my nominations got into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame this year. I don't know if I'll be able to do that again. So making it into the class that we all unanimously agree on, Matt Frampton, Fred Bernardo, the smoking guitar player, Steve Ray, Owl's Nest Barbecue, and Steve Ray's Midnight Oil, Chris Young of Combustion Inc., amongst many other things, and rounding it out, Mike McLeod from MMA Creative / World Food Championships. We have no time for Assurity questions, but we do have time for the YouTube poll question of the week. So we'll ask everybody this rather quickly. Do you believe that the Ninja gas and hot air powered grill will actually happen in 2025? Rusty, yes or no?
No.
Matt, yes or no?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. John, yes or no?
Absolutely. Them Chinese are quick when they're ready to be.
What? Doug, yes or no?
I'm going to go yes, because they've got a stockpile of knives that they have to give away when they sell those things.
What the fuck
It's
does
just
that
a
even
gimmick.
mean?
It's a gimmicky thing. It's like those Ginzo knives that you used to get, and you get a set
Where
of
am I
5
living?
knives.
What's with you guys? Holy shit. I said yes before. I continue to say yes. 60% of the voting public said no. I hesitate to offer promotion here tonight to at least 2/4 of you. Rusty, what are we promoting tonight?
I am promoting. I am now a co-host periodically on the Right on Cue podcast. If you guys go listen to that. I know I've said it before, but my podcast will be coming out again soon. Now that I have time, I keep on getting busy, which is a good thing. But funny enough, you deal with food trucks, you find out they're as busy as you are. So I have some in the bag. I'm just waiting to get more so I don't get behind.
All right,
and
Matt.
that is called On the Road, a food truck podcast.
Matt, what are we promoting tonight?
As the producer of the Right on Cue podcast, I was going to promote it. Rusty did. So follow Blinky's Offset Barbecue __. And we've got a lot of catering and a lot of stuff. So come on and check out all the fun.
John, what are we promoting tonight?
The best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this Friday. Don't miss it. Subscribe to the podcast feed and check it out.
Douglas, what are we doing?
Just got back from Traeger, shot some videos, so there'll be some video content coming out, taught a shop class, and I'm on this past Saturday's Baseball and Barbecue. This book that was actually mentioned on the show, I think Daniel Vaughn, and we had Joseph R. Haynes, the author, about this. This
Joe
blows
Haynes.
up all Joe Haynes. He blows up all the other books on the history of barbecue. It's fantastic.
Do you guys know who Joe Haynes is? Like, did you ever, John? I assume you've heard the name. Is it through the show, or did you know Joe like previous to the show?
Just through the show.
Yeah. Matt, you ever heard of Joe Haynes before? I doubt it.
No, sir.
Rusty, probably no way, right?
He's a made-up creature like Pat LaFrida.
That's right. All right. So I don't know if I can find it quickly. Can everybody just hang up for like 1 second? Let me see if I can dig through the archives and see if I can find something. Stand by.
Well, I can talk about the book.
No. I want you to talk
Not
about
the first book.
Oh. Yeah, his other book is the history of Virginia barbecue.
Yes.
How much would you pay for all this? Don't wait, there's more.
Yes, and your Ginsu 9 is coming. It's
coming
really
through.
a fantastic
Coming
book. So,
all right. I don't
he
think I
lays it out
have
like an attorney.
I don't think I have the whole thing.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Any part you have is going to be awesome.
Intro. All right. Let me see if I can pull it over here. Oh, good. It's going to load. Oh, fuck. I just fucked that up. This is Joe Haynes. He's the guitar player. He's doing the beat drum. And he's going to sing here in a second. It's going to blow your mind. Or you're going to blow your head off. Maybe I didn't have the words in this one. Oh, shit. All right, hold on.
Big name interviews.
Here we go. I got a little one here. Little extended.
He kicks tires.
He lights the fire. He's working all night.
Well, he never grows
Time.
Still smoke weed.
That's his only goal.
As he puts a pig in the pit. And he smokes it whole.
He's the pit master. Rusty, what do you think?
It sounds like Leonard Skinner.
Oh, well,
if Leonard Skinner was a guy at a pool hall.
Exactly.
Way better than Creed.
That's Andy Husband's laughing, by the way. All right, I can't believe I dug that up. That's who Joe Haynes is. He fancies himself a musical talent. He certainly can play the guitar way better than me. Singing, probably a different thing. I'm probably a better singer. He should have contracted me to be the lead vocals on that song. We'd probably have a semi-hit on our hands at one point, but who knows? All right, Doug Scheiding is sitting right next to me from Row Cookers, the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas. There's John Solberg from Michigan, the second longest-running embedded correspondent. Rusty Monson below me from the great city of Utah, and directly below Doug is Matt Osmond, the embedded correspondent from Tennessee. Guys, appreciate you putting in another class, and we will see you again next September, where we will put in another class of Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famers. Wow, we've done it. Let's get rid of this song. I don't even know what the hell's going on here. We did no breaks, so let's get caught up on a little business here. I got one read left. And then we'll close it out 6 minutes into the top of the hour, so a little bit of extended here, but well worth it. Are you ready for that perfect 180 score on chicken, ribs, pork, or brisket? Big Papa Smokers has you covered with the best rubs, sauces, and injections in the business. For a limited time, use promo code BBQ Central and get 10% off all Big Papa Smoker products. That's right, 10% off secret ingredients the championship teams swear by and win with weekend in and weekend out. Don't miss out on this incredible offer, whether you're aiming for the next GC, if you're back at your next barbecue contest, or you're just looking to take your barbecue and grilling game to the next level of awesome. Your food just got better with Big Papa Smokers. Available offer valid now through October 31st. First time reading, evidently. Visit BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BigPapaSmokers.com. Use promo code BBQ Central for 10% off all of your Big Papa Smokers products. We will attempt to wrap the show. After this, stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
All right, we thank the embedded correspondent for really putting in a class much quicker than I thought. It felt really good having some repetitive names coming through each of our lists, so that gave me some encouragement that we could drive through it. And lo and behold, a Matt Frampton, a Fred Bernardo, a Steve Ray, a Chris Young, and a Mike McLeod later, we have a 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame class. So congratulations to all of them. I will reach out to them, get their rings ready. We'll have them on for the origin stories. This portion of the show brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. Step into the world of McAuliffe Cigars, where each blend is a chapter in a grand tale of craftsmanship and passion. The portfolio is a symphony of flavors, each note carefully composed to create an unforgettable Nicaraguan smoking experience. For instance, the Color Series, my favorite, the McAuliffe Black, crowned 2023 Cigar of the Year by the guys at Cigar Authority. Of course, you have the newly released McAuliffe Blue and the highly newly released McAuliffe Red, although I haven't really seen it anywhere, but I've heard it might be available in some places. That's a vibrant expression of flavor, capturing spirit and adventure. How do you find them? Go to McAuliffeCigars.com, use the locator, and find a retailer near you. If you would like a sample, just email me, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, and I'm happy to send you a black, a blue, or both samples if you are so inclined. That's going to do it. All the way back in the first hour, we had a visit with none other than Ryan Zboril from Pits and Spits talking about the new stainless steel griddle/gas grill, $4,000, last you forever. Then we had an open segment recapping some of the Hartville hardware stuff. We also talked about the t-shirt. Don't forget about that. If you're interested in getting a t-shirt, you got to act quickly. You can Venmo me the money at Greg Rempe on Venmo, GREGREMPE, and then the last four of the cell number, all zeros, 0000. Second hour, embedded correspondents joined me, of course, and we put in a new class for the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Always appreciate their hard work. And again, one better than I expected. I thought there was going to be a lot of poo-pooing on a lot of different nominees, but happy to see everybody's realizing the value. And as John said, everybody mentioned tonight, certainly more than qualified to be in the Guest Hall of Fame. So we'll see all of this re-happen or rehash again in September of 2025. Big show planned for you next week. Malcolm Reed is in. Sam the Cooking Guy is in. Al McAuliffe from McAuliffe Cigars is in. And then Gordon Thompson from Engine 2 Barbecue is in as well. Wow. Packed show as we get into Q4 of 2024. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shalom!
Hi, this is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Pride Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.